So, yeah, this one's really late. As some of you know, I lost my dog last week, very unexpectedly, and yeah, it was hard. It was a hard loss. To everyone who expressed condolences over my loss, sincerely, thank you. You have no idea what that meant to me. Anyway, on to this film. Yeah, it sucks. I was none too pleased with it. Alright, before we get started, as always, a quick thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. If you enjoy the content I make and would like to offer your support, then for as little as $1 a month, you can get your name listed right here at the start of every video. Link to that is in the description below. And now, let's get into the actual review.
What's she doing? She's standing there.
The Nun II is a sequel to the 2018 film The Nun, which was in and of itself a spin-off of the Conjuring film series. Taking place 4 years after the first film, Sister Irene is called once again to fight Valak, a powerful demon that chooses to take the form of a nun. I had just watched the first Nun movie the previous day prior to checking this one out, and let me just say, oof. Just oof. The original Nun movie has got to be one of the most boring and horrendously dull horror films I have ever seen. I have no idea what that film was trying to accomplish, or how any of it was supposed to be scary. I was genuinely struggling to maintain my interest in what was going on, and I honestly didn't really succeed. So to say that my expectations for the sequel were low would be an understatement. But now that I've seen the film, I will say this. For all its faults, at least this one is an improvement. There was at least an attempt made here, but it has a lot of problems as well. This movie follows a very basic, straightforward formula that a lot of supernatural-based horror films tend to do. Lots of long, drawn-out scenes of characters walking down dark hallways, hearing a sound, walking towards the sound, see something kinda weird, then the nun jumps out at them, and very occasionally one of the characters will die. Lather, rinse, repeat. Bonus points if the characters either freeze up or decide to investigate further, even when it's made abundantly clear that they need to get the heck out of Dodge. I really hope you like jump scares because there are a lot of them here. Oh, and make sure to have the music suddenly go very quiet so that you know a jump scare is coming, and more often than not, you can predict precisely when the jump scare is going to happen. I'm really not a fan of relying on jump scares because, really, you're not scaring the audience, you're just giving the audience a jolt. I think you can get away with 1, maybe 2 jump scares in a good horror film. The more you use them, the more they'll be subject to the law of diminishing returns. The best kind of horror is the kind that just gets under your skin or is just relentless in how it conveys its ideas and atmosphere. This film is virtually indistinguishable from a lot of other demonic possession films. And that's not the only cliche this film exploits. One cliche that really annoyed me was that the main kid character was butting heads with a clique of bullies who are just mean to her for, no reason. The bullies do not serve any purpose, and they don't fuel any character development, so I don't know why they're here. But yeah, overall, the first hour is mostly just a tease, and not a fun one. Scenes are either the nun terrorizing a character, or the main character from the previous film, Sister Irene, trying to piece together what's going on and what the demon wants. And it gets really repetitive and really boring really fast. However, once the two plots converge in the third act, suddenly the film starts to get a little interesting. That's when it kind of, for lack of a better word, comes alive. The pacing gets better, it manages to build the tension, and the film does at least provide some level of payoff with the things that it's set up that would be utilized later. I just wish the screenwriters were better at integrating it more subtly into the dialogue. But yeah, the set pieces in the third act are okay, and the conclusion that the two characters come to at the end of the film, while obvious and overly telegraphed, was actually kinda clever. And while I'm giving the film compliments, I will say that this film has good ideas on paper. The nun Deborah, played by Storm Reed, has An interesting idea for a character arc. She wants to believe in a loving God, so she decides she wants to help confront a demon because, well, if demons are real, then in a sense, that would also be confirmation that God is real. It's an idea that could have led to some interesting conversations about God and the devil and faith. I just wish that her character was explored a little bit more, but really, she's mostly there just to be an extra hand for Sister Irene in the climax, and that's about it. And then there's the magazine scene. You know, the one that was in the trailer. That's an idea that could have worked, although the scene does get unnecessarily dragged out, causing the scene to lose its impact. But yeah, aside from these, I'm really struggling to think of much that I actually enjoyed about this film. I guess the acting's okay. The characters are passable enough. The set design is okay. I can't say this is a spectacular failure or anything, namely because it mostly just fails in many of the same ways that other demonic possession films do. Like lame jump scares, putting God or Jesus in more or less the passenger seat in order to make the demon figure more of a threat, and inconsistent rules. I don't really understand what exactly the demon's goal is, or really how exactly it operates within this film's universe. Like, can it just go wherever it wants? Possess whoever it desires? Look like whatever it wants to? In that case, isn't it already, like, really powerful? Powerful enough to do a lot of damage, but it wants to be even more powerful? And can it be in two places at once? Because there are some scenes where it certainly seems like that it can, but at the same time, it's also anchored to a single location, I think? I don't know. It all honestly felt really inconsistent, and I, for the life of me, could not get a handle on how it operates. Still, The Nun II is a slight improvement over the original film, but that's not saying much. And if you can sit through an hour of a dull as dishwater generic jump scare fest, you are eventually rewarded with a not terrible final act. But you gotta sit through that bad hour in order to get to it, and even then, the ending's not really strong enough to make the journey worth it. This wasn't absolutely terrible like I thought it would be, but at best, this is pure background noise, something that is destined to be completely forgotten. The Nun II gets a half-empty shot. And I guess that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you want to see my early thoughts of any film I watch or to read more of my reviews, make sure to check out my Letterboxd account. The link to that is in the description below. And make sure that you're subscribed so that you don't miss any upcoming reviews. Have a good day, and I'll see you next time.